So I didn't have to apply necessarily any tools or strategies to manage the kids, right? I had to just manage myself. And then they went along with the journey, and now they don't feel that they're in lack, right?
Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself. Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about that meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up!
Hello and welcome to Bombastik Broadcasting with Kath, Kim, and Sue.
As you know, here at Bombastik Broadcasting, we believe in shining the light on all things bombastic and illuminating the folks who are stoking the fire in their souls one podcast at a time. So to continue our showcase of this amazing Global Conscious Parenting Summit coming to you all online August 8th, it is free to attend. Wealth of information, whether you're a parent or not, is what I've been learning. Just get on there, get your viewing party around it, and show up. So much to learn. So today we're going to highlight another one of the coaches that you will be seeing there. And her beautiful Greek name is Rhea Katsanakis. Katsanakis.
Fantastic.
Woo! All right, check me out. I'm Greek. All right, and she's coming to us from the beautiful Geneva, Switzerland. Rhea actually works for the United Nations, which is pretty amazing in itself. So Rhea is a conscious parenting and life coach, and she is changing the story of the single mom. So Rhea shares her journey from parenting anxiety to parenting with confidence, and how connecting through play became her superpower. Welcome, Rhea. That's such a great
Thank
storyline
you.
you have. I can't wait to dig into it with you.
Yeah.
Hey, Rhea, it's great to have you on our podcast today. I'm guessing that your journey began when you became a single mom, but was there an inciting incident that, one specific thing that changed your trajectory?
I think it was kind of two things. So I've been working for 20 years in the UN, so I work a lot on resilience. And shortly before I became a single mom, about half year before, I had a burnout at work because I was kind of parenting by myself, although I was married. But I think from many women, this is the case, right? All the responsibility falls on us, all the work. And I had this burnout at work, and I was asking myself, okay, where do I go from here? I can't be having a burnout. This is just not acceptable. And at that time, I started questioning a lot of things. And then I decided that it was better to, take the step to do the entire parenting more or less by myself. And I was very focused on that goal. But then when I actually became a single mom, so kind of the first couple of weeks, I was thinking, oh, so what happens next? Am I actually going to be, as many women do, right? You question yourself, am I going to be enough? What if they don't have this strong father figure on a daily basis? So how am I going to cope? And I think there was one moment in particular where I was sitting in the office and I get a message from about a friend of mine actually who had lost her husband. She had 3 kids. She had lost her husband to this freak accident, and then she was diagnosed with a very bad cancer. And I literally had a panic attack because I was thinking, what if something happens to me? Who do my kids have? What am I going to do? They're small. They were 2 and 4. Now they're 4 and 6. So this was 2.5 years ago. So I realized I need help because I'm super anxious and I'm working on resilience for so many years, but I'm not resilient myself. So what's going on? And we learn, or I've learned through my work experience at the UN, basically, that a lot of the resilience starts in the head, right? So there's a lot of, if we feel very anxious, if there's a lot of uncertainty in these situations, I work on disasters and disaster management. People tend to take decisions that are not the best, they can't think them through and they get overwhelmed and then they don't do anything. So I was starting to search online, and I think on Oprah Super Soul Sunday, I found Dr. Shvali in Conscious Parenting. And then I went into that, and it's transformed my life so much that this is why I actually did the coaching program at in the beginning just to up my parenting, because I realized that when I'm anxious, my kids are anxious. And we have made the single motherhood such a negative thing in society, although there's so many single moms out there, that, everybody looks at you with this pity in their eyes. And everybody in my Greek family, I mean, they're amazing, and they meant it from a good place, but they all said, no, you cannot stay by yourself. You can't raise your children by yourself. It's just impossible. So you feel even more down, right? You feel like the absolute victim. You're like, oh my God, how am I going to manage? Nobody believes that I can. So I had to start to believe it myself first. And now I can see after 2.5 years that it's possible,
Excellent.
Who would have thought?
That's amazing. What a great journey. It's kind of funny how, like, you'll be watching a Super Soul Sunday one moment when you really need it, right? And then it just
Yeah.
drops into your lap and you're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, I said I resonate with this concept of conscious parenting, right? And then you start digging.
I love that you had to go through the journey a little bit yourself too, to get that, that resilience, like you're saying, and know that you can really do it.
Yeah.
And it's, the loving family. It's, I just want to, like, say, are you going to make my big fat Greek conscious parenting book? Or I couldn't resist that. You have to, like, spin that, right?
Yes. No, but it was very cool because this Easter we actually went to Greece, and my family was like, "You look good, you look happy. What happened? What did you do?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey guys, I'm fine, So they were at the beginning, they were a bit, they found it very strange, but then they said, "Okay, she's doing something that for some reason is working." And I could see my children, how they were, especially the older one that was 4, she could understand a little bit better. At the beginning, she was really down. She was crying. I mean, they go through a transition. Obviously, it's very hard. But the moment I was starting to work on myself and healing that anxiety in myself, she also started to change. So I didn't have to apply necessarily any tools or strategies to manage the kids, right? I had to just manage myself. And then they went along with the journey, and now they don't feel that they're in lack, right? Dad comes sometimes and plays with them. And then I always tell them, there's all sorts of dads. Some dads come once a year, like Father Christmas, Santa Claus. Some dads come every month, your dad comes every month. Other dads are living with their children, but they're just super absent, they don't even play with them. So they've seen, and now they don't feel that down, or they don't feel victimized, or that a huge disaster happened to them, because they also see mommy's fine.
That's so great. That's so great. And that, I think it's so important for divorced people to make sure that both parents are in there somewhere, unless somebody's having a super difficult time with, things that we can't control. But just for the kids to know that mom and dad are both there somewhere, even if they're not perfect and they're not
Yes, and
there every minute.
I really learned from the conscious parenting, because they always talk about that you have to accept the situation as it is, not as you would have liked it. Your fantasy, of course, was different. You had this dream of, happy family going for a holiday. Didn't turn out like that, but now we're still alive, right? So we have to kind of deal with it. And there's just, I think actually, I don't want to talk about him too much, but I think he's also in a happier place now, because I think he was never happy in that father role. There's just some men that are not, they don't want to do the chores. They want to do the play dates.
Right.
And once you accept that, it's just, okay, so he's good for that. He's maybe not that good for the day to day. And so has his freedom to do whatever he wants now. And so do I.
Right. I mean, that's really important, though, that he's there to play, because,
Right.
at least if he's there for X amount of time and he's present, like, that's such a better thing for
Yes,
the kids,
exactly.
right?
So they know that, and you just know, okay, dad's just like this. But I think another thing that was quite interesting for me is that how much children, because then I still had that issue that my daughter was trying to process, and I didn't know how to exactly process with her. And I think we don't really learn that because this whole divorce thing is such a taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. What happened? You don't want to give them too much information. So moms have a lot of anxiety on, how do I talk about it? And I managed it in the beginning by talking from my side. It was not your fault. It was between us. We just didn't agree. But then I realized she didn't process. They didn't process. They were still stuck there. And children process through play, which is what I learned then. And then I couldn't find a play therapist. So I kept looking and then learned how to do connected play with them, which is an amazing tool because it basically is the equivalent of an adult doing meditation or breath work. So it gives the children in a specific time and space, and they know it's coming, maybe every Tuesday evening, and it's one-on-one time with mom, and they feel fully seen, fully accepted, and this is how they process a lot of things. And sometimes we understand what they process, sometimes we don't, but I could see the behavior of my children shift. So while my daughter was struggling with anger and, of course it was sadness underneath, but then she could shift, and now she doesn't even have those outbursts like that.
Because that shift is part of her pattern now, how she processes things pretty quickly.
Yes, and she actually now asks for it. So if she had a bad day or a stressful day, she says, okay, can we do connected play? She knows now what helps her.
That's so amazing.
That's awesome.
So much power because you kind of also I didn't want to label my child as having a problem and then sending her somewhere else to get help because I was the one who created the whole mess, right? She didn't decide that her parents would divorce. And I thought, why am I sending her to get help and give her that label of she has a problem? But she doesn't have a problem. She's a kid who needs to process. So when I realized I can also be the cure because I can be there for her and hold that space, that was amazing to me. And to be honest, I mean, being a single mom has freed up so much of my time for myself that I didn't realize. I think we always look at the negative. We don't look at the positive. I think a lot of self-development and healing, I wouldn't have had the time and space if I would have been married still.
I agree with that. Oh my gosh, I love that you said that because you deal with all this guilt
Exactly.
and shame. And I'm from an Italian family, and like, how could I
Yes,
ever let that
same, huh?
happen? Yeah, right. But it's true. Like, there's so many things. Like, there's you take on a lot more responsibility sometimes, but in the long run, it does free you up to learn along with your child, be more in control of like your schedule, your life, like your emotions, and sometimes it wouldn't be that easy if there was challenges between you both. Yeah. So
Yes, and I think Dr. Shafali has said this once, and she has developed the whole conscious parenting approach, and she said, a lot of the parenting issues are the co-parents because we often don't agree because people essentially parent the way they were parented, right? So how can that match? And you never know until, actually in hindsight now, you could get some clues by looking at that relationship, them and their parents, but you don't know because people promise all sorts of things, no?
Yes.
I'm going to be the best parent. I'm going to be like, getting up in the morning and playing with my kids. And then life happens. And then, like, actually, that's not my thing.
Right. So that's why this conscious parenting summit is for everyone too. Just had to note that because even for you two, you guys that are engaged, going to get married, not that you should not get married, but you can look at these awarenesses and these clues, right? And just make agreements ahead of time of like, I'm really going to make an effort towards being that conscious parent. Anyway.
Right.
So Rhea, did I understand it correctly? You couldn't find a play therapy coach, so you became one?
Yes, correct. And the reason is because my kids they don't have French as their mother tongue, and Geneva's French speaking, so that was the complication. There's play therapists, very good ones, I'm sure, in Geneva, but I just couldn't find one. And to be honest, I also I also know that my daughter has a reservation to go to people, and I thought, how good is that person? We don't know if she can create a connection, because they need to create that connection. If they don't, then the play therapy is not going to work. And I think also because play therapy you can do for a long time, even until they're young adults, and there's going to be so many issues they deal with, right? Bullying, whatever other issues that may come up. It's not just that you have to process this one thing and then it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. That's beautiful.
And
Yeah.
is play therapy for all ages of children, or
Yeah.
and adults? Is it?
This is what I learned. I mean, this connected play is you can do. You just do it in a kind of different way with older kids. Then they may just maybe want to watch a TV series with you and interact. But the point is how you interact with them, that you don't keep explaining, because a lot of parents, they're in this whole teaching mode the whole time, right? We
Yes.
think that that is parenting, but actually we don't attune to our children. We don't see who they are. We don't let them express, and sometimes we don't even know who they are because we've never actually looked at them properly. And there was so much that I did of that before I became a single mom that I hadn't realized, that I was really quite surprised how the whole dynamic and the whole relationship with them changed so much. And I believe now they really feel seen and heard and understood to a certain extent, and that is good. I mean, I'm not perfect, nobody is, right? Like,
No.
I'm tired and I have a lot of things to do. And I think another thing, when you kind of heal your nervous system and you get into your state of not necessarily always calm, but your authentic state of a regulated nervous system, you realize that this phrase, you have to slow down to speed up, really works. And initially I said, what is that nonsense? I still have the same list to do. But then you
Yes.
become more innovative because you have that space to think, okay, what could I actually automate? Do I have to cook every evening? Does my house have to look picture perfect and clean? No, it doesn't, because that's not what it is about, right?
Right.
No, that is not what it's about.
Just because that is such a good nugget, can I ask you, Rhea, what can you give our listeners a little sample of how you can slow down to speed up, what that looks like?
Yeah. So I think when your priorities, for example, now for me, I have a full working day, and I think this is the same for so many working moms, right? And then when we come home, we're like, oh my God, now I have to clean the house. I have to, wash the clothes and everything. And now I really make a point and I just say, okay, just whatever needs to be done afterwards, I'm gonna do it very quickly after. But when I come home, I take the time to really sit with my kids, see how they're doing. You don't have to ask them too many questions. You can feel it, right? Really attune to them. How is their mood? What do they need? And then often I let the evening kind of be directed by how they are. And what that does is that there's less kind of whining, there's less meltdowns, because they don't have that need. Okay, mommy is not paying attention, right? I didn't have her all day. How do they understand that? They're 4 and 6. So now she's like cooking or whatever. So I don't do that anymore. I really try to focus on them. And then everything does go quicker because they will much more be willing to brush their teeth and get into pajamas and stuff like that, because they feel like, okay, we had that evening with mom
Yes.
and she was there. And otherwise this meltdown, and if you just say, no, I have no time, I need to do this, we all know how that ends up, right? It's going to be a half an hour instead of a 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's so crazy how everything is energy.
It
Whatever the
is.
energy is going on,
This
like
morning,
makes
my
the rest
daughter
of the
woke up a
time.
little early, and that was not planned. It is never like that, right? So I had all my list of things I was going to do before they wake up. And then she said, can you play? Can you be dog? Because my brother's still asleep. And I said, okay, let's do it. And she just played with me for 5 minutes. And then she said, actually, with my brother, it's more fun because he's smaller and you're kind of too big to be a dog. And I said, okay, fine. So let's go have breakfast. She said, yeah, let's go. I was like, okay, done. It was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like,
That's so
for a
great.
second, I said, is she gonna cry if I stop? No, nothing.
I've so been
That's
there.
magic.
Yeah. And then she got to stop, not you, which made her
Exactly.
feel. Yeah.
And it really doesn't take that long sometimes, right? It's just what we project it to be. We always think, oh, God, this is not going to be a disaster.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great example. It made me want to cry a little bit too. I wish I would have known that.
Me too.
Yeah, because you're like,
Me
I'm
too. I
coming here
know.
to feed you. Just be quiet and let me cook dinner and then everything will be okay, you know? But no, I mean, like you said, it really doesn't take that long. That's a great nugget. Thank you, Rhea.
And I do cry in front of my kids also, right? Like I also learned that if I always hold it together, they won't be able to. It's just that they don't get into that role of caretaking mom. So I always tell them, mom's problems, I can fix myself. Sometimes I just need to cry for 5 minutes. You know how it helps you. So I do that also. So for example, my son hit his head. He had a casket on. Like he had he was on his bicycle, but he had this. He basically went. He didn't look, and he went against this thing, and his head flipped back. And I was like, those moments when I was like, oh my God, what happened to his spine? And then he was fine. He just had a little scare, and he wanted to cry. And then we decided to go home. He wanted to go home too. And then when we get home, and I had him there, and I had made sure he doesn't really have anything major, I said, you know what, mommy's going to cry now a little as well, okay? Because I need to get out that stress. And they were like, fine, yeah, that's okay. And then I cried for 5 minutes. I said, no, okay, now I'm better. Because you have to model. So more than explaining to them, you have to model how do you manage your own stress, right?
I'm so happy for you that you got to figure all of this out when your kids are so little. What a magical journey for you.
Yeah.
So Rhea, we're probably going to wrap it up. It's been so lovely talking to you. But here at Bombastik Broadcasting, we like to say that a rising tide lifts all boats. So tell us a little bit about what you offer and your website.
Yes. So people can find me under consciousparentingstory.com. It's not live. It's going to be live at the summit though. So I'm just doing the last little touches. So I'm already offering a free book club. So I'm doing every Friday. Unfortunately for people in the US, it's a little early. It's from 12 to 1 Geneva time. So I'm offering a free book club on the parenting map. And I have quite a number of parents that come regularly to that, and we go step by step and we discuss how that resonates for them, etc. And then I offer one-on-one coaching sessions on conscious parenting if people want to explore. I think especially working moms and maybe even single moms. I think they would resonate quite a lot with me, and I know how that feels, right? Because I've been there and I'm still there in many aspects. So I think there's lots we can do to kind of ease that complication, and I would love to help people with that.
That's so wonderful. We're so lucky to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Rhea, when you said the parenting map, you're talking about Dr. Shefali's
the one of
book,
Dr.
right?
Shefali, yes.
Okay,
the parenting map, exactly.
Cool.
It's the foundational book. I think everybody should read it. Every parent.
Wonderful.
It's been a real joy talking to all of these parenting coaches that are going to be at the Global Conscious Parenting Summit. I mean, I never even heard of Dr. Shefali before all of this. So it's amazing, really highlighting her work as well has been a joy.
And everybody register today at consciousonthego.com. And that's it from Bombastik Broadcasting. Be resilient if you can. Be accepting with things the way they are, and always be ready to play.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up. My man Mo said that the reason that the world fucked up is cause everybody lazy. Positivity is corny to them, but they still gon' complain about the bad going on. Shit crazy. So I just had to drop a little project. I don't know what the object is, but this feels good. If you too hood for the good vibe, sorry I ain't got nothing for you. Why should I?
You shouldn't. We out here doing the things that y'all wouldn't. Life could be a sweet ride, proof is in the pudding. These guys with the weak vibes, I'll show them where to put it. Down bad, I was looking for the answer. Mind all mad, taking over like a cancer. Canceled the sub plans, came from up above. Told me everything we doing, showing love, and I gotta
wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up.
I've been getting so high, head up in the clouds. I don't ever wanna calm down, but I gotta
wake up.
Ain't enough time to be down. Bust a smile, cause it's yet another day that I'm allowed to
wake up.
Feeling blessed to be alive, man. Not long till we thriving. Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself. Most.
Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about that meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time yet. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up, so much more in this world that you can do. Wake up, every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up, you keep shining, you keep grinding. Wake up, all is aligning.